Anyway, yeah. So we mentioned the Louis C.K. thing. It's not really film related, but Louis C.K. is,
In a way, we talk
yeah,
about comedy. He's had specials. This is probably a special that you can watch somewhere. So, like, while
yeah.
the album of the comedy got nominated, which also, I think the weirder thing to talk about with the Grammys is that for some reason, Bo Burnham's Inside wasn't considered a comedy album.
What?
The Netflix one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Why?
it wasn't nominated. It was
Well, I guess we
nominated
don't
for
know.
songs, but it wasn't like he won an award for at least one of the songs, maybe two. But
But
like
wasn't
it
that?
was, it was a comedy special, but it
No, I know,
wasn't.
but wasn't it last year, 2 years ago?
No, no, it was up. It was up for this year. Remember, this is delayed by like 2 months.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. I mean, I heard it was great. Everyone like,
it's fantastic. Yeah,
Oh,
I
Burnham
really
we're
liked
talking
it.
about?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was really good.
really cool shit. But
It's
and I keep
incredible.
seeing, I
That's
keep
the
seeing
one he did by himself, right?
vaguely. I think there's obviously like technical people involved that helped him in one way or another, but for the most part, the filming, the lighting design, and on obviously the comedy is all written
The
and
lighting
made by
design was
him.
absolutely
Yeah.
incredible.
He killed it. I keep seeing these weird think pieces about it that I'm just like, I think you're overthinking this shit weirdly enough. Because they're like, one of them was like, and I had never heard this term, and I vaguely hope it doesn't catch on because I don't understand it. But it was like, what the fuck did they say? They called it something like, fuck, something meta comedy. It's like honest meta like comedy or some shit because he's talking about like mental health stuff, and they were like criticizing him for it being like he's like people were actually like concerned about him and shit like that, and there need to be reminded that Bo Burnham, he did not spend that time exclusively in that room. He has like a longtime girlfriend that he lives with in a nice house, and he's a multimillionaire. And it's just like, yeah, I think everyone knew that. I don't think people literally thought that he was like in just this box of a room. Like,
I don't know, Jake. I don't know. The internet's a funny place.
I guess, but like, it's weird to criticize him for it
I'm
because,
looking
like,
at
'cause the critique was for him and being like, there's no like rules to this new brand of comedy. I was like, it's not new. Yeah, does a different presentation of it, but it's like, yeah, he did an adaptation to the what the pandemic allowed him to do. Like, he couldn't tour it. He wouldn't have toured this material anyway, but like they try to make it seem like it's something wildly new and something that like
No.
is problematic in ways because of how he like made a character and presented that character, and people, they're upset that he made a character for his comedy. It sounded
Right.
like to me.
Yeah,
Well,
it really is
it's like-
dumb though if you think
Because
about it, because
I'm-
like,
that's what every comedian does. Like,
but also it
most
was great
comedians are
for
just-
something in the middle of a pandemic. It's like context
oh, it's
matters.
fantastic. Yeah,
Well, that's
And
why
it's, like,
Colbert
great.
was so funny.
What?
With
Colbert,
Colbert?
that's why Colbert was so funny prior to whatever the fuck he's doing now. Like he
Oh, Stephen
was,
Colbert, the Colbert Report.
yeah,
Yeah.
It was just like
I was gonna say, I thought something new happened with him. I was like, I
no,
don't
no,
know.
no, no.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was because you guys were talking about the characters and like problematic comedians or whatever, and he would play like a problematic Republican, and he would say things that they say, but it would be the joke, like that would be the funny part. He was the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
Which one's got
Fucking-
which late show's got the guy who goes up to Trump supporters and asks them questions?
I think that's Jimmy Kimmel, but honestly, that's
No,
that's
it's
like
not Kimmel.
old.
well, he doesn't go up to it, but he has people. That's Jimmy Kimmel.
No,
Yes,
it's definitely not because it's a political show. I'll find out.
I know, but Jimmy.
Oh, you know what? Because we're not considering it a late night show. You're probably talking about the Daily Show and Jordan Klepper.
Yes, that's his name.
Oh,
He's a Daily Show correspondent. It's not
Oh.
like it's not a late night.
Gotcha. Isn't
Yeah.
the Daily Show Trevor Noah?
nobody considers Trevor Noah.
I thought he was a late. I don't really watch late night, so
It's one of those things. He's on late at night, but like, it's not this. The format is different in the same way that like when it was the Daily Show with Jon Stewart, people weren't like, Jon Stewart's direct competition is Conan O'Brien. Like,
Gotcha.
it's the time slot's similar, but it's not the same type of show, essentially.
Understood.
Well,
that makes
There's
sense.
the Venn diagram exists.
Back to the Louis CK. Sorry, I know we were talking about Burnham. It was related.
Yeah.
I found it. I found the fucking article. They called it confessional meta comedy.
What?
And I'm just like, I hate that.
What
It's
the
an
fuck does that
article on
even
Slate.
mean?
Yeah, basically, and this article, because I read this like earlier this week, and it was confessional meta comedy. I was like, that's a shit term right there. Like, what the fuck does this even mean? Like you're saying, and like they're mad at it because he's like, it's not authentic. It's like, yeah, dude. Very few comedians are like all in on just themselves. They make characters that are exaggerations of themselves. Like, that's regular shit. I hate to break it to you. Every single comedian is exaggerating points of themselves for the point of selling the joke and doing the set right.
There's one
Like,
article. There's one article title about Bo Burnham's special. It says Bo Burnham's growth shows the painfully low bar for white men. This was in June 18th of last year. It's like, damn, bro, this guy can't have a comedy. Like, what does it have to do? I mean, I didn't watch the special, but what the fuck?
It's about the pandemic and about his anxiety and depression, and like all three things are real things, but obviously the setting is he created a setting and a character that exaggerates these things.
Well,
not the pandemic.
It
But, like,
specifies that.
exaggerating the anxiety and shit, and it's like, yeah, that's what everyone does.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't need to dissect this guy's thing, but
Yeah, I'm not here to just shit on everyone who's shitting on Bo Burnham because you're allowed to dislike it. I just think the reason behind this one is silly. It's like he created a character.
but
Well, I guess.
so do we think Louis is Louis making? I mean, I know he's like, I guess you can consider this a comeback, but do you think it's possible that he will eventually be his sins will be forgotten and he
Forgotten?
No.
No, I don't think he's
I guess
straight. Go on.
I was gonna say, I guess forgotten's a bad word, but seeing how he's trickling into, winning a Grammy and he's making money doing these specials and he's showing up to these comedy shows and nobody's really like shitting on it anymore because he's kind of like pushed through the blowback. Does he eventually make a physical appearance comeback? Does he make a TV comeback? Does he make?
Well, he's got backlash, so I don't think so.
I mean,
He's got backlash, but it's not enough where I don't think they would not do it again. I don't think he would
but
not
the
be
thing is,
nominated
like,
again.
But see, I don't really know how true that is because if they see the backlash, they're all about ratings now. Like, because nobody gives a fuck about these award shows anymore. They're boring. They're stale. People only watch the Oscars because of the slap. Like, not even, they didn't watch them either. It's mostly the clip. What were the ratings?
I was gonna say, oddly enough, like people say they're definitely losing viewers, but they're still I was looking at it. It's still like 8 million viewers or some shit a year.
Yeah, but that's global though. That's crazy. I mean, like, that's nuts.
I
don't know. The Louis CK thing, as much as like maybe there's been a little bit of backlash, they didn't even televise that section. Like, there's like every award show, there's huge sections and swaths that they don't put on.
That's a good point.
TV.
They didn't
And
televise
so, like, I don't
it.
think they expected. I don't think they've ever shown the comedy one because people don't think that I didn't even realize that the Grammys had a comedy category before this shit. And
But I guess I find it interesting, like, why even, like, if he wasn't coming back, like if he wasn't being accepted by the masses or attempting to, why would they even bother to let him win? Is I guess my
Because I
I just think they genuinely, whoever rates it, thought that he had the a good enough comedy album, and those.
But that's what I was gonna say too, because it's like the Grammys and the Oscars, they're like, the board is like these old ass white people, like they're like out of touch. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's true anymore though. But But again,
I think the larger point being like, with Louis CK in particular, I think it's unlikely that he ever has as big of a TV presence as he used to, because he used to be like the guy.
Right.
Like, it was like Louis CK was like for like almost a decade just the top name in comedy. His specials killed. Right. His TV show was critically loved. All of his shit, he was like a really big figure. So I don't think he ever reaches that height again. But that probably would have been the case even without Scandal. Eventually, he was not going to hold that position. But I do think that, and already vaguely proven, he still tours successfully. He still shows to big crowd. He still is able. People are still willing to publish his material, or he might be a self-publisher, but it still gets out there. He still makes money off of it.
He self-publishes off of his website. Right.
Gotcha. His career is still. Oh yeah, I remember he had a special that was like website exclusive.
Yeah.
Like 6-7 years ago.
He sells it for like $5 or $10 or whatever, and people just buy it that way. Which, whatever, I don't want to say the smart thing to do, but someone in his position, it's literally the only option that he has.
Well, I think he's been doing that. I think he's been opting to do that before any of this shit. But it goes to show that he's probably not gonna have the same career, but he still very much has a career.
Right.
And part of that is because as much as it's like he was incredibly disgusting and like shit with like the ways that he decided that he's going to be like sexually assaulting people or harassing people, whichever's the more appropriate term for his weird bullshit. It is not as severe as like a Weinstein and like a fucking Cosby and stuff like that. Like, it's
right.
And I think as we get further away from like when all this shit dropped, the people like those shades of gray are starting to be seen a little bit more closely, because like Aziz has now had 2 specials, and by and large people agree that Aziz is probably the least the lowest of the offenders of that Me Too thing, where it's I wouldn't even put him in the same.
So but our boy Woody also had a movie, and somebody I know saw it and said it was pretty decent, like, which sucks to hear.
In their defense, you're gonna ride the wave until you can't anymore. Like, you can't expect them to just go into hiding. They would have to be made to go into hiding.
I don't expect anyone to, I guess, is the thing. Like, if you're not going to prison, like, you have every right to, and even if you go to prison and come out, you have every right to pursue the career that you're hoping to do. It's just for these people, and a lot of their career depends on how the public views them.
Right. And I do think, what if Louis in the Louis situation, if he's forgiven by most of the women that he had those issues with.
I think this is a hypothetical.
Oh.
It's a hypothetical, but I think also a couple of them, like Sarah Silverman and I don't know the other names, but like I think some of them have given him a pass, and they're like, I'm over it. I mean, obviously, there's
Silverman
a couple
was like his friend for a long time. I remember her statement on it was like she didn't like consider herself like traumatized by it or anything. It was just like, this is fucking dumb, dude. Put your dick away, kind of shit.
Right.
But like, but she was like on his show and shit. Like, even after all this stuff happened, she was much more on the side of, not on the side of, wrong phrasing, but she was much more, her words about it were of like the friends of Louis basically being like, it's hard for us to reconcile this. Like, Mark Maron had made a speech, and even though they're not like
that
friends,
stuff about Sarah Silverman, like, that's what she's saying is super concerning to me, just from like, I don't know. It's strange.
Well, I don't think she was saying that she thought other people should take it her way. I think she was saying that.
No, I know, but if he did it to her, it's just concerning.
I mean,
that she says that.
she's taking it differently. You know, I like you can't get mad at her for.
No, I'm not mad at all. I'm just saying, just from stuff that comes out, like from other stories of people forgiving. It's a unique statement that she's making, but it's her statement to make. So I'm not like disagreeing with it. I'm saying it makes me think there's more to things that are going on behind the scenes. But definitely could be very wrong. Not my situation. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
No one's accused him of anything greater than just like than making women watch him masturbate.
Yeah, and I also think if there was anything, it would be out by now. Like, I don't think. I think it is what it is, and it's not anything more. Not to negate what has been said about him, but
the conversation.
What I'm saying is
shades of gray. Yeah,
I'm saying like the situation between the two of them, like what happened behind closed doors. I feel like there's more to the story that's not being said. But again, not my circus, not my monkeys, so I can't really say that she's lying.
I really like that phrase.
Thank you.
Is that just TikTok? Is that the episode title?
What is it?
Yeah, totally. Not my circus, not my monkeys.
You gotta say it like 5 more times
so that I can remember.
Like a fucking circus and some monkeys appear behind you in the mirror. But yeah, I think it is. It's one of those things where I don't actually have an idea of what I want to happen, because there's a ton of artists that get like in their past is like some questionable shit, but not this kind of questionable shit where it's like, oh yeah, a lot of people like rappers have like criminal records,
right?
Like so,
and they're still out there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, I think what it is like. You go first, because I'm gonna say
the difference is like between what like that shit being like, oh, like they used to deal drugs and got busted for that. I just think when you start in this like doing on that level of like, did they like with Louis? It's complicated. It's like, did he actually do the time? Like, because he didn't go to prison or anything. He just kind of got publicly shamed,
right?
And what does that mean at the end of the day? Because I think if you go to jail for a thing and you get out of it, you did the sentence, essentially.
I agree
and
with
I don't
that
think it
part,
should be like a permanent thing above your head unless you're like a pedophile. But like,
I mean, but you can make the argument that Louis was affected by it. He's lost millions of dollars. He,
that's one. That's what I'm saying. It's not a clear cut because there's not like some actual like
metric of I see what you're saying.
I think it's a funny line, because I think it's like, so the Me Too movement is like super good, but it's also to a point where it's not as good as it used to be. Like, I think the whole thing about everybody getting canceled over every little like sexual assault thing is because it's always been pushed under the rug. And then with Harvey Weinstein, the floodgates kind of broke, and then it was like anybody who said anything would get the attention. So it was kind of like, now you're sifting through like the serious allegations, the made up ones, the ones that are somewhere in the middle, and it's like, how do you handle this? You know?
I do think at the end of the day, like, even if somebody's accused, they eventually, if they didn't really do anything wrong, they normally come out on top. Like, there's really no cases where somebody was accused and they didn't eventually get shown to be innocent when they were like what's his name, the host of that comedy show, I forget his name, but he was like devastated by it. They took him off the show, and then I think it was his girlfriend. I think it was like a one allegation thing, and his ex-girlfriend was they found out that she was like fucking nuts. She was the one that was like abusing him, and they took him off the show, and then they eventually brought him back, and it was like this big deal. Like, it was kind of like, it was a Johnny Depp situation.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds vaguely similar to Johnny Depp Amber Heard, but I know it's not that. I know who you're talking about.
I forget his name. Hardwick, something Hardwick, I think.
But he didn't run the fucking like a post Walking Dead.
Yes.
Podcast. They would like recap the episode immediately after and shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't picture his name. He looks vaguely like the guy that hosts The Soup.
Yes, exactly. But anyway,
yeah.
To we can wrap this one up. But yeah, I feel like, you know, Me Too's great, whatever, and maybe it's too much sometimes. But even when it's too much, it eventually comes out that, oh, this was too much. Chill the fuck out.
Well, yeah, but the Louis C.K. is what I'm saying is it kind of falls somewhere in the middle, because
that's what I
you
was
want the
saying, too.
legal consequences, but he didn't get those. But he's getting, and he's like getting career consequences, but also at the same time not. But also like what he did was fucked up, but it wasn't like the most fucked up story you've ever heard from Me Too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's in that weird gray area.
That's exactly what I was saying. Was like, yeah, it's certainly like some real shit that he did. It's disgusting shit, but like it isn't the level of like Harvey and Cosby and like Matt Lauer. Like it's there's a lot worse out there, and there's a lot like more subtle and less problematic than them too. I like how you were like away from the microphone.
I'm so sorry.
I totally heard that snot too.
Well, no,
I'm gonna
because
just sniffle straight into
I'm
the
dying
mic.
over here. I am dying. I don't know what's going on.
It sounded stuffed. It was like
I am dying. Well, no, you said what did you say? What was the guy's name that you just said? You just listed a bunch of names.
I think I listed Cosby, Weinstein, and Matt Lauer.
Lauer. Yeah. I was gonna say my mom would tell you that he's innocent, but anyway,
oh my
go on.
God, Eric's mom. We need to talk. We need to have a
He had a
conversation.
button on his desk that locked the door behind people.
I don't know. We were at Thanksgiving. I don't know if it was this year or last year. She just started. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck was happening.
Like pre-Me Too. Like
I know.
This was before like you can't even make like the things like, oh, he got caught up in like that initial fervor. It was like no. He got his shit before people actually even really started fucking with this shit.
Also, I think the button, they found out later that wasn't like a thing.
I don't care. I'm gonna keep
But
saying
anyway,
it.
I don't know if that's true.
Eric,
I'm just putting it out there.
are you throwing your mom under the bus for your own opinion?
Oh no, she definitely was a Matt Lauer supporter on some
Matt
random
Lauer
ass
apologist.
Thanksgiving. She was like, I feel bad for him. I'm like, what? Okay.
Still a multi-millionaire. It was just Matt Lauer can't host a news show anymore. And I guess that's really what like. There's a lot of it where it's like, yeah, it's affected Louis C.K.'s career, but like we were saying earlier, he's still selling out shows. He's still making albums that people listen to. Like as much as like, is he at the same heights? No, there's no guarantee that he would stay at that point anyway. But
Right.
There's literally a market for everything and everyone.
Exactly. Like
If Louis started a podcast right now, it would be.
It would bang.
You know, it would
it
bang.
would do numbers. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would absolutely do numbers. Like he can do a podcast. You can have other quote canceled comedians on it, but like,
Well, that's the problem. Like nobody would want to go on the show, but yeah.
I'm certain some people would. I mean,
Anyway, sorry.